all of our social media to kick in. Okay. So Helen, as we said before, waiting for our social media to kick in. I've got this bank of lights, and always wait for it to come in, and it's always a bit fractious. And people on the podcast, because we don't clip this, will be wondering what's going on. So team, I've just as I was showing off to you, I've just come back from the States from covering a big conference in Anaheim, California. And the night before, I arranged to meet up with some of my American mates, and I turned up at the Hilton in Anaheim, and I walk into the bar, and there's like 500 people there. And I walk in, I'm walking towards the bar to get the obligatory beer, and people who I don't know going, "Hey, how's the weather in the UK? Hey, how's London?" And having all this, and I got to the bar and I ordered a drink, and the bloke said, "Hey, how's London?" I said, how do you know I'm from the UK, London?" And he goes, "Only you lot would wear shirts like that." Can you believe it? Anyway, shall we? Oh, lights all red. Mark, turn your sound on, and we'll start professionally, shall we? Mark, take us away.
Good morning, everybody. Talking Leaders, number 48. So we're nearly well into our 50th broadcast. So yeah, welcome to today's episode, where we've got the esteemed Helen Wyman, that we're going to talk all things growing together and the power of mentorship.
Excellent. Helen, say hello to everyone before we start this broadcast professionally. And
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, Helen, it's great you're waving. Remember, we got people on the podcast as well.
Oh yeah. Good morning for those who can't see. I'm waving.
Yeah, we got to be multi-talented on this one. Right, come on, let's start this professionally. Come on, Max. You do this for a living, apparently. Hello, everyone. My name is Max McGillivray from Beanstalk Global. Welcome to Talking Leaders from the AHDB and from Beanstalk Global, where big business insight meets real people shaping our sector, growing stronger together. The power of mentorship in farming and unlocking the full potential of yourself and your team. That's what we're going to be talking today about with the great Helen Wyman, as Mark just said, founder of TwoCan Mentor, a food and farming mentorship movement built on connection, development and impact. And crikey, Helen's got the experience behind. You only have to look at her LinkedIn profile, but let's major on the fact that she's a Nuffield farming scholar, because anyone who's a Nuffield farming scholar is an expert, aren't they, Mark? Unlike you and I, because we're not.
Yeah, most definitely.
And we're going to find out how mentorship transforms confidence, leadership, and career paths across food, farming, environment, and energy. And Helen, it feels like with these broadcasts that we've done with Mark and Isaac over the last 2-3 years, we do come back to the same thing, that we all need professional guidance. So we're going to learn so much from yourself today, Helen. So Helen, if I could just start, what's your love of agriculture? How did you get into agriculture?
Thanks, Mike. So I was born on a farm in Yorkshire. Tend not to leave the county very often, as you will find with most Yorkshire people. Always been involved in the industry. I didn't go back and farm at home. Instead, I went into the civil service originally, then worked my way through various different positions. So I've been very privileged to go out and farm and spend a lot of time with lots of different farmers, and it's just that wanting to help. So my love of agriculture is very deep within me and within everything that we do.
And I just have to positively pick you up about the Yorkshire element. When I was at college, we had a number of people from Driffield, and we were very soon to learn that Driffield is the centre of the universe. And anyone who's started on an international basis, if you look at a world map, it all centres around Driffield in Yorkshire.
Does.
Yeah, okay.
Driffield Rugby Club, to be precise.
Oh,
So,
right.
there you go. Yeah, but I'm from York. But yeah, it's all about Driffield. That's all I know. I've only been once.
And Helen, for those dialed in who don't have a connotation, a correlation with agriculture, what is the magic dust about farming in the UK or internationally that creates this amazing community? What is that magic dust about farming?
That's $1 million question, Max, isn't it? So it's I don't know how you put it into words. There's just something about a rural community that all share something in common, and no matter how hard it is, they all care and they all want to help each other. Whether the news and stuff can make you feel otherwise, but there's just something about working outside, working hard, and wanting to feed people and wanting to look after their stock, and just the love of it, because you don't do it for any other reason at the moment. You do it because you love it. And so I don't know if that really answers your question, but it's just
It does. We'll get Mark's view in a minute. I always wonder if, say, like in the shoe industry, is there a community like there is in farming? But I don't think so. No disrespect to the shoe industry. Having just come back from the States, and this was a big fresh produce conference, I felt the dust there, the magic DNA that we have in farming in the UK. There's something about the ground, about animals, about growing things that is very, very peculiar. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal community and industry, and it's just, yeah, like that passion and that desire to do a really good job to produce quality food to feed the nation and look after the environment that wherever they farm is phenomenal. And even though farmers do compete against each other in terms of selling products, you don't see that competition directly. In some sectors, it's more competitive than others, but the willingness that well, what's the African proverb? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's that bringing together of a group of people with a sort of common goal to walking together. I think that's the unique part for me. And as a non-farm, I'm a townie. I'm the odd one out of my family, and I've joined the sector and still do practical farm a bit, but work alongside it. That is definitely reflecting one of the draws to be brought into that community to drive toward that common goal.
But and Helen, looking for positives. I know it's hard out there, and this is the last time I'll mention about the States, because it's hard in the States for farming as well. But there does seem to be glimmers of light that the population, I think, globally is understanding more about the advocacy of farming, and people are getting very aware of here he goes, UPF, ultra processed foods, and that we've got to eat proper foods, and who grows, creates, and presents to the consumer fantastic food? Farmers, UK farmers. So I looking for positives. I do think the market is coming towards us. What do you think, Helen?
Yeah, I completely agree. And also, I always talk about like farmers being part of the fabric of the rural communities. So my kids went to rural primary schools and were part of rural communities. And without that farming network, those farming families, those people coming in and working, they lose a lot of their heart. So we're more than just food producers. We're part of this countryside network, which is so important for the country.
Yeah, yeah, but I'll get off my shoebox in a minute. I've just remembered that 2-3 weeks ago I went to the British Guild of Agricultural Journalists Harvest lunch, and had a great speaker there who's basically saying that this disconnect between the farming community and the urban community happened in 1871 on the Poisoning Act, when there was a new Poisoning Act that came in, which is neither here nor there. But that's when the divide happened about more people being involved, more people living on an urban basis than on a rural basis. And we're now 9 generations on, but people now on an urban basis seem to be very curious as to what's going on within the farming community. So again, looking for those bright lights that hopefully the market will be coming towards us. Anyway, Mark, we need to find out more about Helen. Go on, Mark.
We do, but it's a really good starting point in terms of how we continue to sustain those communities within the rural sector. So I suppose let's start thinking about, Helen, you've created TwoCan mentoring. What was the inspiration, and where do you see the gaps in farming that mentorship could help and fill?
So my inspiration, I suppose, officially came from my Nuffield, which I completed. So I'm a 22 scholar. And I did my Nuffield all about how mentoring in ag can drive positive change. But the reason I decided to do it on that was because, as I spoke about, like I've worked with lots of farms over the years, and you can just see the gap and the disconnect between the two. So very lucky to go and spend time around kitchen tables with farmers like don't have succession, and they just want to give back, but they feel like, how do I do it? Do I just go and knock on someone's door? I mean, you're not going to do it. And if you spend a lot of time in isolation, it's very hard to find somebody to help or to give those skills back to. And then the other scale is I used to go out and see new entrants and people who maybe don't have wider family, and they're like, I want these skills and I want these knowledge, but how do I get it? So we find in the industry there's a lot of technical knowledge exchange, but there isn't very much of the everything else knowledge exchange. So the combination of completing my Nuffield in mentoring and deciding that yes, mentoring is a good thing, came back and looking at the industry and we're like, well, it's just missing the middleman. So that's why we created TwoCan, and that's really the incentive, to bring people together and give people that ability to share, but also to receive.
Helen, well done. Mark, can I just jump in? Helen, do you think our sector is unsophisticated when it comes to mentoring in comparison to other sectors? Have we got a lot to learn from other sectors on this very important area?
Yes and no. So yes, other sectors are further ahead in certain aspects. So when I did my Nuffield, I went and talked to the engineering sector and all other sectors, and they're like, yeah, of course I've got a mentor. When you're 18, you have 4 or 5 of them. You have one for different aspects, and it is one of those things that is seen as, of course you've got one. It was a silly question for me to ask whether you've got one. Whereas in farming, it's different. They all work in offices, they work in corporate roles, they work in big businesses, and it is a very different environment. Farming is farming, and just by its pure nature, it is harder to run a structured mentoring scheme.
Yep.
So yes, and the other aspect is people seeing the value in mentoring as well, because a lot of people are time poor, and it takes time and it takes will to do it. So unless you see value in it, you're not going to do it. So a lot of the stuff that we do is showing people that it is valuable, and then they can move on from there.
I remember an anecdote about a chap I met, needless to say, in a pub, and he was had done a long career within the oil industry, and he was in the headquarters of a particular oil company, and with their 360 reviews that they used to have to do on a Monday afternoon. In that, one of the key elements was, who is your mentor? How are you progressing with your mentor? And but with that particular individual, I was smiling because he did say it was a bit over the top. That in those reports, they also had to do all the health and safety, and they weren't allowed to walk up the stairs without holding the handrail.
Yeah.
And you can imagine walking around a farm and having to go, right, I've got to walk to the left side of this bit.
If we do need to get to that point, Max, but it's all good.
No, it's really interesting you say that about the different industries that you looked at, because if you think about farming, it's very centered around the technical and the do and the milking of the cows, the ploughing of the field, which just that environment piece, not to say that farmers aren't professional, because they are very much so, is how they actually build that in, because we've intrinsically always focused on the technical rather than pushing out them the challenges that move in. So really interesting. Adding to that point, obviously you're a Nuffield scholar, which is a fantastic opportunity and a great journey. Part of the Nuffield Farming Scholarship, a big plug for them, great opportunity, and their conference is the tickets are live at the moment. If anyone wants to go up to listen to people like Helen share a fantastic wealth of knowledge in November. There was obviously some mentoring within that program and within that role. How did that kind of shape your journey and kind of your leadership, to take leadership in this kind of area?
So I had mentoring before and during my Nuffield. So before my Nuffield, the mentors I had, I didn't really necessarily know they were mentors. It's one of those things when you look back and you go, oh, actually, do you know what I mean? They were critical friends to me, both called David, obviously, because everyone needs a mentor called David for some unknown reason. And but they both helped me in lots of different ways, and they were very much critical friends. And for me in my leadership journey, it's my career has been wiggly. Is that the term? It's not been linear. I've not spent the last 20 years in one industry, and I've not spent it in one job. And I enjoy moving. I enjoy new things. And sometimes you just needed somebody that you weren't related to, that you weren't necessarily paying, just to go, no, Helen, like, just chill out, or do this, or go do this, and just take a moment. So I really appreciated that time to stop and think with them. So my mentors got me to the point of doing my Nuffield. I never would have had the confidence to do one without them, to be honest. And they've really shaped who I am today. Wouldn't be sat here without them.
That's amazing.
And I don't think they realised it at the time, and I didn't realise it at the time. And then through my Nuffield, they obviously continue to help me. And then since I've done my Nuffield, I have recruited many more mentors for me mainly. So I'm just like, I love it. The more mentors, the better, because there's no harm. And what I also found is that, because I've worked in some smaller industries within agriculture, is you hear a lot of echo chambers coming back at you. So it's by having a mentor I found outside of the echo chamber I sat in was really helpful to see the big picture, because it's hard to see the big picture when you're in it. And they can highlight other opportunities and really help you move forward. So
Helen, you won't believe this. I've just had a WhatsApp message in. What is Nuffield?
what is Nuffield?
Tell
Right.
us. Tell us.
Good question. So Nuffield is a scholarship that it's Nuffield Farming Scholarship. If you Google it, always good. And they put through 20 scholars a year, and as part of that, you are given a certain set of money to go and travel on whatever topic you want to travel and research on. And the aim of it is to go out around the world and come back and share your findings for the positive contribution of UK agriculture. There's probably a better definition.
No, I don't know about you, Mark. I think that's one of the best elevator pitches I've heard about Nuffield. And what was the topic? What was your subject matter? What was your dissertation title for Nuffield?
My dissertation was, this is a good question, can mentoring drive positive change in agriculture? Okay. So I'm like a proper Yorkshire person. If you don't need to say 300 words when you can say 5. So we like to do things in a concise manner, to be honest.
Okay, and if it's okay to ask, Nuffield, were okay for you to endorse this subject title? Because a lot of people that do Nuffield, it will be the how do I increase milk yield on Frisian cows or whatever. So I'm guessing that's a bit left field. Your title, your subject matter, they endorse that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So the way it works is it's on the person and on the subject together. So it's not just subject only. Yeah. And it's what the two together can bring to the industry. And the subjects are then matched with sponsors. So if there's a certain sponsor who specializes in, I don't know, crop protection, then they will sponsor a crop protection scholar. So I had John Oldacre as mine, which is a legacy sponsor.
Got it. And I presume in your international travels, you went further afield than Driffield Rugby Club. Where did you go?
So in my true Yorkshire passion, I've never really been on a long haul flight. I've never really travelled. I never did the gap year thingy. And I had 2 small children, so it was quite a big thing to be flying. So massive fear of flying. So I decided to go to Canada, because why not? It's only 8 hours, isn't it?
Fantastic.
I went to Canada for a month. I'd only got my first night accommodation booked, and just went and travelled, met some amazing Nuffield scholars over there who introduced me to lots of people, and I still remain friends with them. They're coming over in 2 weeks' time. So
love it.
I went to Canada for 4 weeks, and then I went to Brazil for 3.5, 4 weeks, which was exactly 3 weeks ago. So I saw my first toucan, 3 years ago, sorry. I saw my first toucan 3 years ago, stood in a field with this amazing guy, and he was telling us all about 3 crops a year and soil rotations, and then we went toucan as it flew over the top. So anyway, that's a slight aside. But we went to Brazil and travelled around the UK as well. So it was an amazing experience that brings you more than your subject, brings you a lot more confidence. And
I can see that. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know what I'm going to say next? You did this fantastic elevator pitch as to what Nuffield is, and we all want to now do Nuffield. What was the conclusion of your studies? If you were going to if you're going to present that to us, what was the conclusion that you got from your dissertation, from your Nuffield title?
So at the beginning, at a certain point, I said I don't like to use lots of words. I used to like to do it concisely. Yep. So I created a little triangle, which is all over our website, but on my Nuffield as well, is about how to run a successful mentoring program. Because the conclusion was quite early doors that mentoring's good. So I didn't need to travel for all that time to conclude that mentoring's good, because what was the point? So instead, what I traveled to find was what's the ingredients of a successful mentoring scheme. And I put it all together in this triangle of success. And there's lots of parts of it, which I don't need to run through now, but it's how to make sure people get the most out of their experience. And yeah, sorry, I've talked around a subject, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, totally. And Mark, where I think we're very blessed is we got an expert on mentoring with us. I suppose Mark, we need to dive in now and present Helen those sorts of cases that we always talk about. And Helen, I will let Mark talk in a minute. You know how farmers are very, very sophisticated, but sometimes they're not the most sophisticated. What's that old saying that the best thing about running a business is employing people, the worst thing about running a business is employing people, and you never learn about mentorship
Yeah.
or leadership at college, university, or perhaps you learn it more. Helen, if there was a farmer who was looking to find out more, was curious, what hold our hand, walk us through it. What are the early stages? What would you advise, please?
In terms of them doing it at home on their own farm, or
Yeah,
part of a
yeah.
wider so there's lots of different types of mentorship. You get formal and informal, and you don't always need the title of mentorship for mentorship to happen. And it's all about starting small. So the first thing to do is understand what it is and what its benefits are, and why it's worth spending that, whatever you want to do, like an hour a month or whatever, just having a stop and a think and a reflection. And then I've got some questions for you, Max. Can I get my questions out? Would that be all right?
Please.
Please, I've got them on a piece of paper so I don't forget. And for those of you who can't see them, I'll read them out. So what I'm going to read out are 5 questions that is really basic. So it's a really basic start to any sort of mentoring. And you can use this with people you work with, people you know, and it just helps start that mentorship journey and mainly helps start that conversation. So actually there's 6 questions. I apologize, we've added one in. Right, so I'll read them out. And basically you ask somebody, what do you want more of in your career? You can change the word career to whatever you want to change it to. Okay.
Yeah.
So think about that. And then what difference would it make for you to have more of it?
Yeah.
Okay. What is stopping you from having more of it? Question 4. What needs to change for you to have more of it? What else might you gain from having more of it? And then the last question is, what is that first step you need to take to have more of it? So that just takes you through that mental process of what actually is it?
Yeah.
What's stopping me? And what actually do I need to do next? Which sounds really basic, but it's something that if you're really busy, head down, day to day, milking cows, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
2 years have gone by and you haven't really stopped and thought. And maybe you do in a business sense, particularly, or I don't know, if the accountant turns up once a year with your books and you go, oh yeah, we need to do this. But actually just stopping, thinking, doing it with your team is a nice structured way to do it. It doesn't have to be, it can be quite professional and business-like. It doesn't need to be anything else.
Yeah, I love it, and also the one key thing about this is about being happy. That if you've got that positive direction, with your mentor, with your critical friend, or however you structured it, I love it. It's basically challenging you. Where do you want to be in? It's a horrible question, but where do you want to be in 3 years' time? But it's like breaking that down, and also what I need to do to create that success. And on the back of that, I'm going to be happy because I'm going to be enjoying it, and the people that I'm working with or employing, I'm going to infuse them with that, and that we're all going to hold hands, and we're all going to move forward and create success. Mark, would you agree?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's all about breaking that. It's not eating the cake in one go.
Well
breaking it down into smaller chunks, which is then sustainable, which people are going to continue on the journey and also hopefully achieve that goal. Which is really good. And I think we've touched on sort of some of the barriers in terms of adoption of this kind of thing, which is the technical focus, the day-to-day time, labour pressures. And if I'm honest, from the experience of AgriLeader, this area of running a successful business, which is so important, isn't quite as sexy as ploughing a field or whatever that may be. It's because it's always been driven to the technical. TwoCan's up and running now, and you've established it as a company and a business. You've connected loads of mentors and mentees from different sectors, from different generations, from different industries, and from different corners of the sector. What have you learned about those connections and how those relationships have built and thrived and developed, and how have you gone about it?
Um, so that's a very good question. So where to start? So we started TwoCan. Well, Mark was actually on our pilot program, which seems a very long time ago now, Mark, as a mentee, weren't you?
Yeah.
You came in
Yeah.
sort of, Mark was very brave. Basically, I had this crazy idea. We went and very kindly got some money from the Frank Parkinson Agricultural Trust to run a pilot, and Mark put his hand up. So there we go. It
Wow,
was
well done.
amazing. Yeah, right. Without people like Mark, we wouldn't be here today, to be honest, because you need sometimes someone just to back you, don't you, and just go, yeah, go and give it a go and see if it works. And since that pilot, we've changed quite a lot. And then Mark's come back in as a mentor this time and actually just finished his first mentoring journey, which is great. And we learnt things like the importance of matching, the importance of training, and the importance of project management. So training we now do in person, everybody together for a day, which was really good because we do things like those questions, we do how to listen, and but also expectations from the relationship. Because a lot of like in British culture, we don't tend to talk about things like that, do we? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh yeah, we assume all these things, but actually we very clearly set out expectations from the beginning. And then on the matching side, we've built our own algorithm that matches people. And
Wow.
we don't just match people based on the fact that, I would say, you're a dairy farm in Yorkshire. You don't necessarily want to be matched with a dairy farmer from Scotland, but it's not about industry. It's about personality type, as well as lots of other factors that we now match on. And we did a lot of academic research to back that up before we did it, because matching for mentoring is different for matching for other reasons. And it's proving really successful. We don't always get it right, and we always tweak it every cohort we do. But we're now at the stage where I'm really happy with how we match. And I always say that, like, sometimes you can both be in the sector and you go into the same room together and you might think, oh my god, this is going to be a long hour talking to this person. Yeah, whereas if you go in the room like I did this morning with you two, do you know what I mean, we could chat all day and it'd be absolutely fine. But that means I'm more likely to open up to you. I'm more likely to say, oh my god, I'm a bit worried about this. Whereas if I'm in a room with somebody who I'm like, oh, you know what I mean, sometimes you just sit back a little bit, don't you? Then that mentoring relationship's not going to work, because mentoring relationships work on the fact that you're able to build rapport really quickly and open up really quickly. Otherwise, you're not going to get the most out of that situation. So that's why we match cross sector as well, because it means that you don't get drawn into very niche specifics. You are able to talk about things like people management, which is the same no matter what sector you work in. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the issues that we come across that are non-technical aren't sector specific.
Yeah, yeah. Helen, I could talk to you all day. I'm not sure about Mark, but that's just a just. Would you and tell me if I'm crossing a line here? With on the basis that you're expanding the business,
Yeah.
Mark and I could come across a number of people who are looking to give back. Are you looking for mentors? Are you looking for that collaboration? Are you looking for people to knock on your door to say, I want to help. I'd love to be part of the program.
Always, Max, always. So we've spent a lot of time building the foundations of the business and not really pushing it very hard. Saying that, we've had 250 people in the last year,
Wow.
and we've done very little. We've done no paid marketing. Do you know what I mean? We just, it's all built on word of mouth to begin with, and now we're at the point where it's all the base. You know what I mean? The foundations are there, and we can now go help much more people. So yes, please to mentors. Yes, please to mentees. And we were told, one of the things I was told when I first started, as people helpfully tell you, is that it'll never work because people won't want to give back. They said you never a chance people that want to give up their time for free. So all we ask for from mentors is a day of training, which is beneficial, and then an hour a month for 6 months online. So we don't have a huge time commitment, but people are like, no, unless you're going to pay us, we're not going to do it. Well, like, that's fine. I've got plenty of people who will do it just because it's good. And what we're finding from mentors coming back to us is that they're saying things like, I've got as much out of it as the other person.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
this is sort of reminiscent of if either of you have come across the scheme Speakers for Schools, where they get high profile individuals to speak at schools, and there's so many examples of school kids who've been positively influenced to go down a particular career because they've had this amazing person on stage. Where am I going with that one? That likewise, it's what we were saying at the beginning. The farming community, everyone as a whole wants to give back, and if they've got this this catalyst of TwoCan to be able to do that. So here's a big question, Helen. Not financially,
yeah.
what does the success of your business look like 3, 4, 5 years out? So not financially, what does the success look like?
To help more and more and more people. So when I set out, I never wanted to help small numbers. It's never the way I've always worked. I've always wanted to make change at large enough, the biggest scale I can make the change at, basically. So we want to, just keep helping people, keep moving forward, creating a huge mentor bank that people can access, and just so in the moment we mainly work in England, but we're gonna start doing some stuff in Wales and Scotland and Ireland and just keep growing, basically.
Excellent. So with this collaboration that we've talked about, and Mark, we've talked about this incessantly for the last 3, 4 years, haven't we? Having this mentorship element of it. So with the I'm using this word catalyst again of TwoCan, you can see, Mark, how that can make such a fundamental positive change in the sectors. But we need to support Helen and her colleagues.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And admittedly, I've been a little bit part of the journey, and in terms of my personal reason for clicking the link and filling in a form to join the pilot was I've got to my stage in life and stage in career where development and CPD became not challenging, but I needed to do something. But some of the stuff that's out there from a lot of the other companies, the Worshipful Company of Farmers, the Institute of Agricultural Managers, there were massive time commitments. And I've got young children at home and other commitments that they weren't really applicable. Whereas this was able to, in a very informal, very easy manner, to get some support and some development from someone. And if I had one thing to say about what Helen and the team have created at TwoCan, it's that matching piece.
Yeah,
I can honestly say that is, for my mentor, Nick, up in Yorkshire, never met the guy before. And we still keep in contact now. Every couple of months, have a chat and chew the fat and go through things. But it gave that connection. I've never felt so open. I started to share things that I wasn't necessarily sharing with colleagues at work, that I wasn't burdening maybe my wife with, that he could just help me get through that project or through that area as we moved on. And then it flipped, and Helen was like, you can become a bit of a mentor. It's like, what's little Mark Campbell got to offer down in Sussex?
That's
but
amazing.
actually, you suddenly realise that because of the matching process, I did add some value to my mentee, and I did help her out through a tricky stage, and she's moved on, and it's all good. And again, we now catch up occasionally on a bi-monthly basis, just to touch base and just to keep that contact, which you don't realise the power of that connection and that matching in terms of how you're in tune with the other person and feel very comfortable very, very quickly to talk.
Yeah. Guys, can I just go back 20, 25 minutes? Mark, thank you. I'm really impressed, but that sounds patronising. I'm amazed, and I'm guessing that your chap Nick has got a squeaky chair as well up north, and that's why he got on. But it was having that, obviously, that cultural fit. Helen, you know what I'm going to ask when I get this, finally get this out of my mouth. We know how hesitant people are within the sector. We know how it's getting better, but how can we get people to engage with TwoCan or other people, or to speak to, I don't know, a friendly solicitor or accountant about, I need help here, but hopefully they come to you. But what's that catalyst? My word of the day. How can we get them to get over that barrier that so many farmers, especially male farmers, have got about getting involved with something as alien as this? What's the answer?
Oh, that's a big question again, Max. Two things I would think. One is that I always say to the kids, what's the worst that can happen? It's only a conversation, which I know can be quite a big conversation to have, but you don't also need to start massive. So you don't need to go and ring somebody up and tell them everything to begin with. You can just ring them up and have a chat. Do you know what I mean? So I always think it's just about starting, and then that starting point then builds the motivation to do more. I've forgotten what point number 2 was now, which is not very helpful.
No, don't worry, so have I.
Come back to me on that. It was a good point
But
as well. Can't remember.
but
Come
it's
back.
just being brave, isn't it? I love that example of you doing Nuffield. It's like I've never travelled long haul. And next thing you know, you don't say buggering off. You're off for two months round the world,
Yeah,
and look at, so it's just taking those small steps, being
yeah.
brave. Well, I know it's quite jingoistic. You guys what's that thing about just make 1% change a day, and then by the end of the year you'll be 365% different.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a bit jingoistic. But yeah, it's just push yourself.
Yeah. I think with the like the point we make about time, we're all time poor. Do you think that, and it's not just our farming community, it's probably everybody, underestimates the power of spending, whether it's half an hour, an hour, a fortnight, in terms of either listening to someone and reflecting, or actually talking to someone to allow them to feedback in that kind of mentoring conversation?
Yeah, definitely. And so when I went and looked at all the other mentoring schemes, they all had a variation on how long you should spend doing it. But we settled on an hour a month for 6 months because it's only an hour. So if you think about how long people spend scrolling on social media or how long they spend on whatever, Netflix, and that's absolutely fine to do. But when you say you don't have an hour, then in a month, then I would question, do you
Yeah.
really not have an hour, or is it just not your priority? And then when you've actually done your first hour, you will realize how beneficial it is, because that hour is your is a what's the word? It's giving you permission to stop and think about you and your business and your career. It's not, you don't need to feel guilty for doing it because I'm telling you you have to. Whereas if it's sometimes people feel guilty for stopping because they're too busy. Do you know what I mean? There's always something to do, isn't there? There's not very often on a farm you're sat there with nothing to do, and then when you're not doing something, you feel guilty. So it's guilt-free, I suppose. Reflection time with
Yeah.
somebody who you're not related to and will not benefit financially or whatever from whatever decision you make, which is really important.
Yeah, love it. Can I, Helen, can I ask another horny question? So we're sort of talking about this farming example. So I'm just making this up. Say there's a big grain company. I remember having a lecture from the CFO of British Telecom years ago, and he said when you get over 500 employees, culturally it's a really difficult thing
Yeah.
to manage. Multi-site, even more difficult.
Yeah.
Multi-site internationally, oh, even more. So if you've got this big grain business, just making up numbers, say it's employing 500 people and it's got 6 different locations and it's got so many moving parts, but you want to bring in this mentorship program by yourself into that. How would that senior leader educate, excite, influence his senior management team to go down that route? What would your advice be on that, please?
So we're actually doing that at the moment. I know, Max, it's like you knew, you didn't know. But anyway, so we do it in 2 different ways, is the way that we do it at the moment. So we go in and we're starting to run people's internal mentorship program.
Okay.
And there's pros and cons of internal mentorship. And we're also going to help them run external mentorship programs. So for the internal one, the advantage is that people understand the culture and that it's about like teaching people the importance of mentorship, which we've spoken about a lot before. And if you're in the corporate world, you probably are much closer to understanding why it's important. And then we help them match using our matching software internally, and that builds a network cross-site, cross-international. Do you know what I mean? It creates new connections in the web that probably would never have existed anyway. But the disadvantage of that is that everybody is in the same company in the same culture. So then we also work with companies like AHDB, for example, and we put people into our central program. And the advantage of that is that you get matched with somebody outside the industry, outside your business, and they can go, oh, so why does that happen?
Yeah.
Because we've all been there. Like you go and work in a company, and when you arrive there, you go, why do they do that? And then within 3 weeks, you're like, of course we do it that way. So you very quickly get morphed into them. And the feedback we've had from businesses we've worked with who've put people through our program because we match them externally, is that they've come back with new ideas, they've come back with new confidence. Because if somebody outside your business says that's good, then you kind of listen a lot better than somebody you know or somebody you work with says that's good.
Yeah. And Helen, where I think it's very very mercurial is there's a sort of a technique within the retail sector that if you can sell something, a concept, say a new software platform into a retailer, and that retailer likes it, endorses it, they'll then tell all their suppliers, and all those suppliers will tell all their suppliers. So if you've got the likes of the AHDB who are adopting you, and everyone gets it, and then everyone influenced by the AHDB then is influenced, positively influenced, and they get it, and down it goes. So it's like the top down.
It is, and we've also found that we've managed to get in lots of people from lots of different areas of the industry on purpose. And this also comes back to that point too I'd forgotten earlier, but it's still related to this point, is the fact that we wanted to highlight the people who were involved, because what's the word, like people, if you can relate to the people that are already in the scheme, and they are similar to you, or you respect them in some way, then you go, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So we do quite a lot of that, and that's where we're really keen to spread the word of who we've got in the program.
I don't want to say, Mark, we're all like sheep.
No.
but it is, because if we're still, the Mr. and Mrs. Farmer looks over the hedge and sees that next door neighbour's got a new combine. And it's all, that's lovely. I must
get whole adoption curve, isn't it? And just there's some people that are the early adopters, which then the majority hopefully follow.
But Mark, where it's great is with Helen and her colleagues. It's here comes my big phrase of it's created societal change, which is we're all about trying to get growth into this country and be more efficient. And we can be more efficient if we're happier and we've got direction and we're positively pushing ourselves. So Helen, we need to push you through the photocopy a couple of times. So we got more Helens out there, creating more positive change.
We are doing that at the moment, Max. We're doing that at the moment.
Sorry. Okay.
All good.
It's really good and really, really interesting. And I think some of the points that you made about time commitment and allowing that piece and being able to talk to someone, ideally potentially outside of the business, but not necessarily in that. I know for me, one of my big barriers is having a conversation. It might sound silly, but it's one thing that scares the bejesus out of me. And then add in the factor of someone I've never met before, that's even scarier. So the way we managed that is, rather than having an hour, we did 2 half-an-hour slots, which actually we spoke for 2 hours because we overran. But it psychologically gave me a shorter period that I needed to plan and prep for to have that discussion. So thinking of that and thinking about, we've talked about some of the barriers and some of the challenges. What kind of practical steps would you share with a farming business to start to try and have a go, have that first piece of cake, to start some kind of mentorship or bring that into their teams, into their businesses, or into their local communities, maybe farming communities? What advice would you give?
So I would say just start small. Don't go, we're going to create a massive mentorship within the business and go out all guns blazing, because people, like, if they've never heard of it before, they just back into a corner and disengage. And if you've had somebody in that room who has had a mentorship agreement that didn't work, oh my God, they'll tell everybody that mentorship's rubbish. Not just that one partnership they've had with some random person is rubbish. So just start small and just start putting those conversations into that farming environment. So like every month having a coffee and chat, just to have a conversation that's not necessarily, right, we need to do this. It's not a to-do list conversation. It's just a wider, softer conversation. So don't go make wholesale change, just gradually, and just start talking about it, and then people realize what they're doing and they're much more conscious of it.
It's a good thing that you say that. And I can talk of a cluster, a little cooperative of farming businesses very close to me, which Max and where he was born, ironically, it was only a few miles from where I now live. There's 3 very different businesses that they work in unison together, and they've started indirectly just with members of staff from each business going to one of the other businesses. And even if you just go out in the truck to have a check around the fields or check around the cows, to be able to chat with somebody else. And we indirectly said, well, actually, that is a form of coaching and mentoring that you're just doing to get your team off the farm and seeing what the other guy's doing and chat through something, which the next step probably would be to look at a bit more of a structured program that they could implement within the business. But yes, starting small, and it's not necessarily into the office for time 9 o'clock to sit one-to-one. It could just be going for a drive around the stock or the farm with somebody else to just chew over an idea and get some feedback.
That's a great idea, though, from that cluster group.
Yeah. Which he didn't realise he was doing it until we pointed it out to them.
Mark, can I jump in? Helen, I wouldn't normally say this, but Mark is a very impressive individual. If I could work out the tech, I'd turn off his screen when I'm talking about him. I'm so impressed with Mark that he's gone through this program and he's become a mentor. What advice would you give to someone who doesn't see themselves as a mentor? Can I just give a quick short imposter syndrome? Let's throw that word out there. There's this great clip that came out about 2 years ago that Tony Blair was being interviewed on Times Radio, and Alicia, the commentator, said, "So Mr. Blair, do you suffer from imposter syndrome?" And he stopped, he hesitated, and he went, "What's imposter syndrome?" And you actually look at how people, it's not a normal thing to be a mentor for a lot of people. So we've got someone very impressive like Mark who's turned into a mentor. What would be your advice, Helen, for those people who are suffering from imposter syndrome but actually have been told, or they deep down know they got a lot to give? What would your advice be to them as to how they could get involved with the program to be a mentor?
So firstly, I think most people have imposter syndrome. And that's one thing that Nuffield taught me, because it allowed me access to lots of people I've looked at for forever. And then you look into their eyes and realise that, they're nervous when they do certain things and they're worried about certain things. So from that point of view, everyone's got it. From a term of a mentoring point of view, our best mentors by far are those who think that they can't mentor.
Wow.
Because they don't bring an ego. So because sometimes we've had people in the past who, they bring more ego than necessarily required for a mentoring relationship, because mentoring isn't about telling people, it's about sitting with them and being with them and asking the right questions. And so what we say about if you should be a mentor or not is, do you want people to succeed? Like without benefit to yourself? Have you lived a career and a life and whatever? Our mentors stretch from, our youngest mentor is 30, and I don't know how old our oldest one is. We won't give that away. But basically, we have a lot of people in a wide age range, and that's same for our mentees as well. Our youngest mentee is 21 now, and our oldest mentee is 65. So it's a mindset, not an age. And the reason I take mentors from that entire range is that sometimes, depending on what they want, a 21-year-old comes in, might be more relevant to match them with a 30-year-old who's gone back home, done a succession, come out the other side, because obviously we've got generational changes. But we're quite happy to talk to anybody who thinks that, well, maybe come and have a one-to-one chat with us. We're not very scary. And the other thing, if people do want to give back but they just don't have the confidence yet, is that they come in as a mentee, like Mark did. We have quite a lot of that. Come in for 6 months as a mentee, and then they get the confidence, which is probably what they need from a mentoring relationship, to have the confidence anyway. And then they come back in as a mentor. So we're here and we're friendly and we're not very scary, and we're just here to help.
I love it. Helen, Mark, what great symbiotic relationship. Yeah. And I wasn't aware of this because you normally think of that. I have a business coach, and it's very, very transactional, isn't it? And that's not. And a friend of mine, Neil in the West Country, has just sent me a WhatsApp saying, "Tell Helen, Max, how big your ego is." so I'm out. Mark, over to you.
No, it's been really, really good conversation. Probably my last question. We clearly identified that mentorship is going to be the powerhouse, and it's going to be a key tool in developing people within our industry. Where do you see, or how do you see mentorship shaping that next generation of farmers, food producers, and potentially even like our future leaders of the industry?
So the more I do that, the more I do this, the more I see the benefit. So it's really key to that next generation, I think, because we want to develop leaders and people that are confident, that are self-aware, that are collaborative, and just really want to grow as a unit. And mentorship is really key to do that. Not only do we get people out of their echo chambers, but we also develop them and provide critical friends. So in a very short and rounded answer, Mark, I think that the benefits of mentorship are huge, and why not make the most of it?
No, it's interesting as well, because what do they say now, that the job's not for life, it's for the project. And my son, who's just rounding into college now, and your son Max, who's at college, how many roles do they have in their career? So how many mentors will they have within their career to enable them to go on their journey?
Yeah, and guys, what I've learned is I sort of reiterated what I said earlier. I thought we were going to be talking about sort of formalized business coaching, but where this is morphed into, Helen, is you're giving back. You are creating this societal change. We haven't used this word community. We're creating this community of people that are looking to help both ways. It's beautiful, mercurial.
Community is a word I should have mentioned and have written down but haven't used, because that's our next phase. So we're rolling out the mentorship to more and more people, but community is phase 2 of this project. So we're creating localized cross-sector discussion groups. And we have other plans to do lots of other things next year, because people want new connections and it's really hard to find them. So I wanted a cross-sector discussion group because I don't fit into any other discussion groups. I'm not going to go to a dairy one or where do I go? So we're creating those at the moment. So we're very early doors doing that. But that allows us to create a community, and we're just going to keep growing and growing that because it's what people want. So let's see what we can do.
Okay, just dialed in from South Africa as an old mate of mine who's in the grape industry, Clayton, saying, could Helen come out to South Africa? We desperately need this sort of initiative in South Africa farming.
I would love to. I've never been, so I'll be coming out next week. So thank you.
Okay, we'll put you on the plane and you'll turn left when you enter, not turn right. But, Mark, quick question to you. I asked this of Helen earlier. With this community, let's go for community that Helen is setting up with this fantastic initiative. What do you think? What would you like to see success? What does success look like for you, Mark, as this sort of person that's been involved in the wheels and the cogs of this business, this program? What does success look like?
Yeah, I think just bringing those people together locally. The one thing I not regret, that's the wrong word, but I wished I'd done is, admittedly, both my mentor and mentee were bloody miles away from where I lived, and I don't regularly travel to North Yorkshire. Unfortunately, it's actually meet them face to face. And I think for success for me is I now feel part of something. I still wear my badge, even though it's got the wrong brand name on it, on my blazer, which are people. I'm proud to be part of that group, and I think connecting with people that are, again, part of that group is only going to build my confidence and enable me to maybe do things and connect with people that could help me and I could help them moving forward. So it's that ability. Success, I suppose, is to actually meet more of these people that have got that same drive and that same like-minded nature to develop each other. Would be for me, definitely.
Love it. Helen, wrap up for us.
Oh, can I? Exciting times. So can I very quickly go back to Mark's point? Is that feedback that we've had from Mark then is common across the feedback that we got. So what we're trying to look at is how we get more in-person events throughout the year, so you can actually keep meeting people, because you find there's lots of like-minded people in that room. Yep. So there we go. So, can I do this last question that you've put on my sheet now?
No, hold on, Mark, hold on. Helen, ask the question of yourself. Go.
Ask my question of myself. Okay, one piece of advice we'd share with viewers to answer today's title is the power of mentorship. So the thing for me is a lot of the things we hear is now's not the right time. How many times have I heard that? Oh, I haven't got time to do it. Oh, I need to wait for this to happen or that to happen or whatever, which sometimes may be true. But a lot of the time there's never a right time, okay? So my friend said this about getting a dog, okay? So I haven't had a dog for 10 years because the kids were little, or I was doing this and doing that or whatever. Always grown up with animals, really missed one. But there's never a right time to get a dog. So can we exit the prop on the right? Hang on, excuse me a second. She's not there.
Mark, I hope you're excited. For everyone on the podcast, Helen has left the screen. We don't know where she's going.
She's back. She's back.
She's back.
Don't
She's
worry.
back. Everyone on the podcast, she's back, and she is Mark. Describe this beautiful dog.
Oh, what a beautiful little puppy with a lovely whiskery face and his little jumper on to keep him warm, or her.
There
Sorry.
you go.
And,
So yeah, so the conclusion is I've never looked back since getting the pup, and yes, May didn't have time, but she's worth every second. So there you go.
So the analogy, the point here is, Mark, Helen, is just do it.
Just do it.
Just
Get a dog and mentorship at the same time. It's fine.
Mark, wrap up for us formally.
Well, what a fantastic conversation. Again, talking about mentorship and chatting, we could have gone on for hours and hours discussing this. But I think the key points for me is about that just talking with someone that's like-minded and providing a little bit of time. Helen, you're really right. There's multiple challenges out in our industry at the moment, but to enable people to develop and push forward, and whatever level within the business, is just taking a bit of time out to have a chat with someone. And like I said, it can be a structured manner, which I fully recommend TwoCan, and talking to Helen and Sarah back at the team to go that way. It could be just going for a drive in a truck with a neighbour just to get something off your chest, which is so cool because it enables you to grow and push forward. So great conversation. Please look at Helen's website. From our perspective on AHDB, if you look on the labour life cycle under managing people, we have a few pointers and a few areas of how to develop those conversations and how to get the best out of your people within your team. But yeah, what a great conversation. I'd love to have Helen back on again in a year or so's time to see where we're developing or where we're pushing, which we've done with a few guests, just to see the progress and how the industry's getting on. But no, fantastic.
Team, well done. My phone's blowing up here. A number of things. Helen, name of your wolf, please.
Bobby, and she's a girl, just to confuse people.
Fantastic. And I've got multiple people asking you, Helen, where have you got your shirt from? And hold on. There's about four or five of them are ladies, but Gary's also asking where you got your shirt from.
Dancing Leopard Unvinted. It's classic.
There we go. Mark, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We've done everything from this mercurial business that is TwoCan, and how that's going to create such positive societal change in farming, and where Helen and her lovely wolf get their shirts from. No one's asking about my shirt. There's a reason for that. Team, well done. Really enjoyed that. We'll link you, Helen, and all the posts, and let's get you on for the next time.
Brilliant. Sounds good. Thank you so much, guys. That was really good fun.
Thank you,
everyone. Bye.
Who's walking the dog?
I'm going now.